Hi, it's Liz from Lohas Canada. It is April the 15th, 2020. This is a podcast about knitting, about sewing, and all the crafty things that you want to do. So last week I was really good with the whiteboard, writing down everything I wanted to do. This week was definitely more not using the whiteboard at all. I was eating chocolate in bed for breakfast. Just having more like a free-flowing week. And with that process, it really did allow me to finish up a lot of the projects and then move on to other projects. So let's get into some knitting. So knitting, I tried to finish this vest. And so this is wool from Salt Spring Island. It's about a DK weight. And I thought I would make the vest longer. So when I did my measurements, I was just holding it up from the bottom to where my armpits were and then splitting to go up. Now with that, I didn't really take into account because I do hunch over a little bit, a lot, and I roll in my shoulders, but I wasn't really taking that into account and I wasn't thinking so much about shrinkage of the wool. So when I was finishing it, before I did the crochet around the edges, I thought, oh man, this is going to be a bit short along the waist. So I wanted to make it longer. And so I was just doing something else. I don't know how to pick up stitches properly at the bottom, and I should have counted when I blocked it thinking that it will be alright. It shrunk up a lot more, and then also because I didn't pick up stitches at the bottom, it cinched it in and kind of created this bomber jacket look where it was puffier more at the top and the mid, but then tight around the waist. So that wasn't really the look I was going for. So what I'm going to do is rip out that bottom part that I did, and then I will cast on the right number of stitches to try to add it and see if I can make it a bit longer. So as you can see in the back, it does go up like this even though they're the same number of stitches on either side. So I really wanted to lengthen that, and it's just a lot of crinkling that I don't want. So I was just trying to make it a lot more fluid to go down further. And I don't really know if that was too much ribbing as well. I mean, it does have a really nice look. I do like this pattern. So I really wish I did more stockinette stitch before I started doing the top part. So it was a bottom up vest. Also for this pattern, I did not do the, I think there's a button band, and I don't understand. From what I've been reading, you're supposed to add the button band after, and I think maybe I was supposed to add it when I was doing it, maybe? I don't know. I don't really quite understood what order I was supposed to do it in. And when I put it on, this is the perfect width for me. So if I add a button band, it will help prevent this from rolling. I know that. I did do a crochet border, which it told me to do, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to overlap too much and it'll look too big. This is my first vest, so for some reason I chose a Japanese pattern, and that wasn't great to do because they have a different numbering system for how many rows and their decreases and stuff. So, but it was really interesting to learn, but it wasn't a beginner friendly pattern for sure. So my only other knitting project is the Hat Dana, and I am just using this wool. I think it's 100% merino. So I'm actually doing some cabling. So for the cabling, I was recommended to get just a cabling needle. I had no idea what they were. So I just went to our local knitting store before the lockdown, and I was like, oh, do you have a cabling needle? Like, not knowing what that even looked like. And it was funny. So it came in like a pack of 3 of these. I don't know why. I should just Googled it. Anyhow, so for me, it's just easier just to put it. They come also straight, but she was saying, because I've never cabled before, is that you can just hook it onto there and then it won't move because it's on this little round part rather than it being on a straight one. I mean, you can also do it with just a needle, just to put one of the stitches on the needle while you work the other stitches and then put it back on. And I was at the thrift store a little while later, and then they had these, of course, but I didn't know what they were before, so I didn't pick them up. So yeah, that was really great that I was able to get those. So those are all the knitting projects I have on the go. We'll see how long this hat Dana takes. So let's have a chat about some sewing. This week I decided I wanted to finish all the masks that I made so then I could do other projects. I will definitely go back to making masks, but can only do it for so long and then you start burning out because you're sewing the same thing over. So last week I mentioned I joined Kathy Hayes, the Foundations Reveal sewing group. So it's got historical articles, it's got workshops, it's got a whole bunch of different things. And I wrote out a plan of all the things that I'm going to do so I'm able to accomplish the goal that I do want to put in. They announced their competition that they're going to have next year, and that's Once Upon a Time theme, so you can do anything fantasy or anything like that. So that really started making me think of what I want to do, also about where I'm actually going to be getting the fabric from. So I'm still reading lots of articles on their site. They had their first welcome last week, and so that was really nice. So you get to meet the whole team, have a little introduction, see what's going on, and then give you a little overview of the website. So I watched the sleeve workshop and I just finished that this morning. So it was a 3-part series and it was free on their website in the beginning of April just for a short time. But Kathy was saying that they did edit a lot of it out just because of the images that people were showing and projects that they were working on that weren't supposed to be in the public's eye. I haven't been focusing quite so much on the garment making on that as so much right now, just to figure out and get some ideas and then start sewing. So last week I printed out a bunch of patterns. I didn't even cut up those patterns yet just because I was feeling very overwhelmed because I had so many other projects on the go. I wanted to finish those all up before I started cutting out some new patterns to do new items. So last week I also cut up a bunch of material to make menstrual pads because I wanted to do different materials inside and figure out how it was pieced together. And it's going to be like a couple months and different trial and errors to figure out what design works best and what material inside. So I had pieces already cut out, I just wasn't completing them. So I wanted to clear those off before. So my sewing is definitely not perfect on these at all. So like this is one of the menstrual pads and I was using hemp and bamboo for the inside and depending on the thickness that I was looking for, and then cotton on the front and flannel on the back. And I realized I just was at Michael's because there is no other fabric store around here that's open that carries flannel. We have lots of quilters around here, but I realized that there's different types of flannel, of course. So this one was, I think, on sale and it's more of a baby's flannel. So it was a bit thicker, and then this one was just a regular flannel. And there is anti-pilling flannel, but I opted out of that just because that does have polyester in it and polyester doesn't breathe. So I did want something that is breathable. Now after I cut out all the material and cut out the inner core, I posted it on Instagram and one of the people on there suggested you could also use, in the center, you can use wool, which is something I haven't heard before but kind of really makes sense. So I do have a bunch of roving, it's all fluffed out so I don't have it compacted together, so I'd have to do some felting, figure out how I would do that, and then for the shape and the size and the thickness, and then do a couple more tests. So I have a couple different colors and then different colors for backing depending on what the material is inside of it. So I do have metal snaps for this. Most part I've seen them do plastic snaps, and I don't know if it's just because they're cheaper or I don't know, they feel too cold on the skin or something. I haven't noticed any problems with it, but I'm going to be giving it out to some of my family members and then hopefully get feedback for that. So I do have a metal snap presser. I don't have any plastic snaps, but I do have a plastic snap presser because I found it at the thrift store and thought maybe I could use it with a metal one, which you can't. So I ended up getting a metal one, and so that's just what I've been using. So it's just lots of experimenting and just trying to figure it out. I know some people like to put Zorb in the inside layers, which is a trademark thing, which we've talked about last time. I'm not using Zorb for these ones. I did buy some anti-wicking material, and that just came the other day. So the anti-wicking material is essentially plastic, but it helps wick away from your body. So if you think, it feels like when you wear those athletic dry fit top type things when you go work out, it feels like that, which isn't a natural material, of course, but it helps wick away from your skin. And I'm going to make another batch with some anti-wicking and the roving and try to do different layers and thicknesses. I don't also know if the back flannel, if it needs to be thinner or thicker, so that's what all this experimenting is going to be used for. So I finished the refashioning video and I put it up yesterday, and you'll see there's a vest on there where I just switched out the buttons and turned them over. So this is the fabric that I'm going to wear. It's in the inside fabric. I'm wearing it outside now, so I like it a lot better. I'm going to choose some more items for this week and do some more refashioning for those items, see how far I get, because those 4 items that I did was the fastest and easiest. So these ones are going to be a little bit more complex or time consuming, or I'm going to have to learn a little bit of new skill. So we'll see how far I get with that. If you do want to make your own masks, I do have a video on that too. So it's actually 2 patterns that I put together, and that seems to be working really well. So I do want to say again thank you to all those sewists out there that are making masks and that are making protective equipment. So I know in our area we are still doing head scrubs, and we're doing masks for people who are going out. Masks for us are not such of a push right now, but head scrubs, and then also people are requesting hospital gowns. They are getting material from their local sewing shop, and they are sewing those out. It is a lot more work, obviously, because you're making a gown basically and a lot more fabric. So they are putting together kits at our local sewing shop, so you can pick it up, and then it's just your time to learn how to make it, and they had the fabric already for you. So it's really amazing to see people bringing out their old sewing machines. They haven't sewn in 20 years, or maybe it was their parents before and they've never sewn, and they start learning to figuring out their sewing machine, figuring out how to sew the mask so they can start becoming more self-sufficient and also help out the larger community. So I don't have a clear agenda of what exactly I'm going to work on this week. I'm kind of just letting myself figure out what I want to do that day and then actually doing it. So I'm not putting that extra pressure, but I do obviously have a whiteboard. I might get back to it. We'll see. I hope you guys are all doing well and being kind to yourself, and I will chat to you on the next video. Bye!